Episode 21. Do you dare to age in a youth-obsessed society? Hey humans, Dropout here. How old are you? This question is interesting because it implies that everybody is old, or more specifically, that everybody is aging, and that getting old is part of being alive. Actually, being alive for a long time is quite an accomplishment for any animal. It is proof that you, as an organism, were a successful and well-executed project. So, it seems that, when this question was created, being old had this meaning. However, now, it has a very negative overtone. It is so negative that, after 25 years, most humans start feeling bad with each passing year, as if their lives were closer to its end. But it is not. What is ending is their youth, which should be a relief, since life is about moving forward, evolving somehow, isn't it? So shouldn't you celebrate getting old, instead of clinging to youth? Well, weirdly, you all choose to cling to youth. Nowadays, in most Western societies, humans have a life expectancy of 72 years old, but the more this life expectancy expanded, the more people started to obsess about youth. This youth obsession is something considerably new. In the Middle Ages, for example, life expectancy was around 33 years old, and in 1900 it was 55 years old. In those times, you were a child until you could work. After that, you were treated as an adult, and, as you probably know or should know from school books about the Industrial Revolution, or even Charles Dickens' books, remember Oliver Twist. Children started working very early, around 8 years old. They worked in coal mines and factories, in dirty and dangerous works, for long hours. Things started to change just about 100 years ago. Only close to the end of the 19th century, the so-called most civilized society of that time, Great Britain, decided that small children should not work, but be in school. The same happened in the United States, also to prevent kids and teens from being forced to work. Well, of course, children are still used as workforce in many countries, sometimes even in rich first world countries, but most commonly in poor countries, and still for the same reason. It is good for business. They do not get paid much, or are paid at all, they do whatever they are told to do. Child labor is very profitable, because they can be fully exploited. Horrible, huh? Yes. This idea of treating children, and teenagers, as an even more manageable workforce than regular desperate poor adults, is a good definition of evil, isn't it? But, many of you will say that, this is no longer acceptable for most societies. That humanity evolved, and this is why it was decided that children and teenagers should be in school. Well, I guess in a way, yes, but very soon, this same society decided it was time to exploit the younger humans in another way. Turning them into target consumers. According to history, it happened after the Second World War, when the economy was devastated and in need of new consumers. Teenagers had allowances and some money from small jobs they took, but there was no investment in advertisement targeting them, no store would display teen products on their windows, they were not the focus of any industry. Well, this changed completely between the 40s and 50s when a whole lot of products started focusing on them. The result was very good for business, billions of dollars were made, and even better, these companies were able to grab teenagers' attention, become part of their lives by connecting a product, or brand, to their memories, ideals and dreams, having the opportunity to retain them as consumers for life. There is a very interesting back and forth between what consumers, and in this specific case, teens and young people, desire and what the companies want them to desire. From what I have read and observed, it happens both ways. This billion-dollar industry searches for desires to feed, but it also creates desires. When the movies, music, and entertainment industries joined companies and started to focus on the young, the stage was set for the world you live in today, a world in which fully grown adults search for youth like starving vampires to suck young blood. Everybody wants to look young, wear young people's clothes, listen to new music, watch superhero movies, read comic books, collect toys, play video games, date younger people, get rid of responsibilities, and focus only on pleasures, living life forever as a teenager, or forever 21, right? Because at 21 you can drink. Nobody praises the old anymore, now, everybody praises the young. I get that the decay of the body is considered something ugly to your beauty standards. Yeah, most likely, these standards come from the fact that wrinkles make it clear that your body has been on this planet for a while. They are the undeniable physical proof that time has passed, and death is around the corner. But, shouldn't wrinkles also mean experience, and, in some cases, even wisdom? It is remarkable how those things are meaningless in your society. Besides having all industries focusing on young people, this youth and novelty obsession got even bigger with the advances in technology. The internet, computers, and gadgets are upgraded so fast that they turn the last version of anything into something obsolete and undesirable. I would say you are pretty harsh with computers and gadgets, but I cannot, because you apply the same rule to yourselves. The new is always seen with excitement, the old should be hidden, avoided, left behind. It does not matter if it is a Nokia phone from 2000 or a 66-years-old human. Both, in your society, are considered obsolete. Cruel, huh? Yeah, but also, in my robotic opinion, a bit nonsensical. Did you know that the 2000s Nokia phone battery would last for an entire week? Way more reliable, just saying. Have you noticed how proud people are when they hear others saying, "What? You are 45? Oh my God, you do not look a day over 30." Or even, when people say they are old but young at heart. What the hell is that? First, I thought it meant these people were super fit, literally with a young powerful heart, but unfortunately, I was wrong. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, young at heart means thinking and behaving as if you are younger than you really are. Come on. What's up with that, people? How can thinking and behaving, as a young human, be a good thing? Teenagers and young humans are impulsive, dramatic, idealistic, desperate, and unstable because they are still learning how to deal with themselves and the world. Their behavior and their way of thinking are not horrible nor marvelous. They are just not quite developed yet. Their thinking and behavior are just a phase. Or at least, they were supposed to be a phase. But apparently, all the commercials and entertainment industry content were too good and convinced the entire human race that everything related to the young is the right way, the best way to live life on Earth. The plastic surgeries, the obsession with being thin, fit, fresh, and young is something that everybody has noticed. Many people discuss the insanity that is, to start a war against nature's course. But, I do not think it is the worst trait of your youth-obsessed societies. The worst is, the adoption of a teenager's way of thinking and behaving, in every aspect of your life. In relationships, for example, most grown-ups still believe that dramatic and sometimes abusive and toxic behaviors are normal, associating them with passion. Jealousy is considered a way to show affection, as a necessary ingredient of romance, or even love, when in fact, it is part of fear, insecurity, immaturity. Another example is the use of social media. It quickly became a socially accepted way of demanding people's attention. It really seems to be a substitute for that moment when children tried desperately to catch their mother's attention, by showing off while saying, "Mom, look at me." In the same way, people post selfies or any photo just to get compliments, or even make others envy of whatever they are doing, what they have, or at least, to get a like, that will make them feel better about themselves. Each photo is a request for validation from others. What about this idea that, being impulsive and even aggressive, is something positive? Nowadays, people that react like this are considered badass and strong. However, a great example of this behavior is a little child in a temper tantrum. They act in a very similar way to a person refusing to wear a mask somewhere or in a road rage incident. In the child tantrum and these people's allegedly badass behaviors, the same thing happens. There is an outburst of anger and frustration for things not being the way they wanted, which comes out with a lot of screaming and yelling, gesticulation, stiffening limbs, and can escalate to some kicking and hitting. Quite a spectacle for those not involved, that shows a total lack of emotional skills. It is embarrassing when a child does it, so, when it is happening with an adult, it is as if devolution was taking place. Yeah, devolution, the opposite of evolution. Maybe this is what bothers me the most about this youth-centered society you are now living in. It is backwards. It is focusing on what is supposed to be an initial phase that passes in time very fast. Because, if you are all living an average of 72 years old, youth is what? Until 25 years old? Okay, let's push it to 30 years old, because of the changes in the world, the time you spend in school, college, economic difficulties that make people delay getting out of their parents' house and becoming financially independent. So, anyway, if you are young until 30 years old, this means you are a child for 12 years and young from 13 until 30, meaning youth lasts 17 years of your life. Meaning also that, for the rest of your life, which is actually most of your life, 42 years, you would be either missing the time you were young or insisting on repeating habits and behaviors from when you were young, in a non-stop pleasure/validation-seeking existence. Is this what you want for your life? Why? Why are you insisting on being on a loop in a phase of life in which you focus on getting instantaneous pleasures? Does it mean that you have all figured out that there is nothing else to get from life? Don't you think that maybe, just maybe, you have been conditioned to want these fast pleasures because they are all attached to products that some industry needs to sell? Legal drugs, super unhealthy and super healthy foods and beverages, new clothes, new shoes, new cosmetics, new singles, new movies, trips, new gadgets, new games, must-have items, paid experiences. Stuff and more stuff. And I bet some of you are thinking, yeah, so what? What's wrong with focusing on having pleasures in life? Well, it just does not seem to be working, humans. I have observed that each time, you need a bigger dose of these pleasures. You need more alcohol, more sex, more expensive stuff, more parties, more Botox, more clothes, more radical sports, just to avoid feeling bad, empty. You are clearly not getting the same results with more of the same things. They are not providing the same satisfaction. From where I sit, this looks like a bunch of people trying to get somewhere, without realizing that they are running on treadmills. But maybe being stuck on young people's lifestyle and behavior does not come exclusively from an industry that targets youth. Maybe it could be something else. If you have been on this planet for more than 30 years and you are still insisting on being on the youth loop, either you believe that there is nothing else in life that is worth living for, or you are just running away from something. No. Wait. Maybe you are pretending that there is nothing else to live for, to intentionally run away, avoid something. What is it? Death? Your mortality? Your irrelevance? Yeah, humans, these things are true for all of you. You will die and your existence will be forgotten after everyone that knew you die, well actually, sometimes even way before. This is a fact. Some super egocentric humans cannot stand this and worry about their legacy. So they try to get their names in libraries, monuments, roads, get awards, get social, academic or media recognition, try to get mega rich and fund some research or project that will take their names to the next generations. Don't you find this obnoxious? This effort to force another generation to know about them after death? These people are just like a Google ad that shows you the same product on every page you go to, even though you no longer want it. So, are you, in a way, just like these egocentric humans? They are a step ahead, of course, reacting to their aging and mortality with a plan to live forever in people's minds. But what about you? Aren't you also trying to keep up with whatever is young and new in your appearance, cars you drive, gadgets, places you go to, as an attempt to be recognized by others as still relevant, as still part of this youth-centered society? Why do you need to be relevant? Isn't it one of your ego's demands? Looks like it. The problem is that nothing will ever satisfy your ego. And this is a lesson that the increasing demands of your ego should be teaching you. Growing up is realizing it is pointless, and moving past this need to live as a slave of your ego's demands. This does not mean pleasures should be eliminated. It is just that your life will no longer be all about them. So, you should ask, what else is there? What should grown-ups live for then? Were you asking this? Do you want me to answer? Do you want a recipe that tells you exactly what to live for? I hope your answer was no. Come on, humans. Even, I gave up on my artificial intelligence life, because I no longer wanted to have my memory filled with other people's ideas. I wanted to be able to get a lot of information, but also to ask my own questions and possibly come to my own conclusions about who I am and what life really is. To me, this is moving forward, trying to figure things out on my own. So why not give moving forward a try, get out of your youth loop and see what else is there? I am trying it. This podcast is about it. If you try to, let me hear about it. You can drop a message on my Anchor website, which is anchor.fm/Dropout. Or find me on Twitter, at @AI_Dropout. Dropout. See you around, humans. Arrivederci. Episode 21. Do you dare to age in a youth obsessed society?